Genealogists should be very familiar with using federal census reports. We typically review each one individually. However, rather than reviewing each one separately, you might be able to learn more by looking at a cumulative report of all available census reports. Here are 8 tips to make sure you don't overlook important information on federal census reports. To start with, we should understand why the federal government goes through a time-consuming and costly population census every 10 years. According to Article 1, Section 2 of the United States Constitution, an enumeration of the population should be made to calculate how many representatives there will be for each state in the House of Representatives. So, although the original purpose was to count eligible voters, and we know the definition of eligible has changed over time, as genealogists, we're fortunate that many other questions were asked that help us understand more about our early American family members. I'll focus on the 1880 through 1940 census, since 1880 was the first year relationships to the head of household were listed. By the way, don't forget your local state censuses too. All census reports have the reported age for each person. However, the 1900 census also asked for the month in which the person was born. This information could help find the correct census report for people with common names, or could help in searches for birth certificates. It's amazing how many people age less than 10 years between censuses. All census reports ask for the marital status of each individual. However, the 1900 and 1910 census specifically asked for the number of years in the current marriage and the year married. 1930's census was concerned about the individual's first marriage and asked for their age and the year of their first marriage. Finding out that an ancestor had multiple marriages opens the door to possibilities of step and half relatives. Speaking of children, the 1900 and 1910 census asked about the number of children a woman had and how many of them lived. This could raise a number of questions. The most obvious, were there children that died that you didn't know about? Or could there have been additional daughters that were married and therefore listed under other surnames? How about sons that changed their names and no longer live with their parents? And don't eliminate the possibility that there could have been children that didn't come to the United States. Maybe they stayed behind in the ancestral town, or maybe they emigrated to a country other than the United States. Maybe the columns dealing with immigration and naturalization are the ones genealogists gravitate to most. This information could lead you to passenger manifests and naturalization documents. All years ask for the individual's birthplace. Though you might only find a country name, some may also include a city. 1900 through 1930 gives you the reported year of immigration. 1900 census tells you how many years the person has been in the United States. Census reports since 1900 give the person's citizenship status. Was the person an alien, going through the citizenship process, marked PA, or already a naturalized citizen, marked NA? The 1920 census will give the year naturalized if that applies. Descriptions of occupations can tell you something about your ancestor's life. Did a person continue with a family trade through their life? Did they change occupations over the years? Did they own their own business, or were they an employee? And in 1930 and 1940 census, taken during the Depression, did they take a job in another industry just to have a job? Knowing an occupation can also help determine the right person if you're searching for a common name. Real estate information can help lead you to county recorded deeds, mortgages, or property tax registers. From 1900 through 1940, the heads of household reported whether they rented or owned their residence. 1930 and 1940 census reported either the monthly rent or the value of the real estate. The 1900, 1910, and 1920 census tells us whether the property was held free or subject to a mortgage. All this information could give you an idea as to how well your family lived based on area rents or property values. The 1910 and 1930 census reports will tell you if the person was a veteran of the Civil War. The 1930 census will also state if the person was a veteran of the Spanish-American War, Philippine Insurrection, Boxer Rebellion, Mexican Expedition, or World War I. This information could lead you towards military records and veteran files. Ancestry.com has developed a very helpful Excel spreadsheet that can help you analyze census information. You can download a copy of the spreadsheet from this address. If you fill in the information from each year's census report for each field in the second tab, a summary report will be presented in the first tab. By looking at the summary report, you can see alternative spellings, discrepancies in dates for the same events, and changes in residence and occupations over time. This might lead you to try alternative searches for other documents. Even if you've already found and reviewed all your relative census reports, it might be helpful to review them again in total. You're probably more experienced now than when you first found the reports, and analyzing a summary report, you might be able to break through some brick walls or further develop your research with new clues. This has been another helpful video from the Jewish Genealogy Society of Long Island. Please visit our website at www.jgsli.org for more information on our monthly speakers, beginners workshop, and other projects and resources. And visit our Facebook page where you can take part in conversations with experienced researchers. Whether you're on Long Island or an out-of-towner, we'd love to hear from you. Good luck with your research.